Hello everyone, I'm Frank, and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's hard level difficulty puzzle. And it's a part of a series that we've done in the past. It's x dash 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 v times 9. And I think we did previous versions of this earlier, and these were all by Nurgle's Gift. Here are the rules. We have normal Sudoku rules apply, which means in every cell in the grid, place a single digit from 1 through 9 such that there are no repeats in any row, column, or designated 9-cell region, which is a box in this case. We have orthogonally adjacent cells cannot sum to 5 or 10. That means any two cells that share an edge, which is what orthogonally adjacent means, can never sum to 5 or 10 in the grid. Digits in a cage cannot be orthogonally adjacent with a consecutive digit. So these digits cannot be consecutive with this cell here. Cells connected by a black dot must be in a 1:2 ratio. So these are black Kropke dots. So for example, if this were a 2, this would have to be a 1 or 4 to maintain the 1:2 ratio between them. And finally, the part that is the constant of these x minus 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 v puzzles are two lines of the same length and same color are connected x lines, which means that counting from the bulb, the first cell of each connected x line sum to 10, the second cell of each line sum to 10, etc., etc. And again, so this must match with this line. This blue 4-length blue must match with the other 4-length blue. The 4-length orange must match with the other 4-length orange, etc., etc. And those are all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay. We know these two match to add up to 10. These add up to 10. These add up to 10. These add up to 10, and these add up to 10. Okay. So that means we could have a 5 in the middle. In fact, we're likely to have a 5. These two add up to 10, so they cannot be 5. So this must match with this. This we're gonna match with here. So blue and blue, orange and orange. These are pink and pink. So these are sets of digits which must be adding up to 10. Okay. These add up to 10, and they're in the same row. So I'll make those yellow, I guess. These are different ones, so there could be a 5 there. Okay, that matches with this to add up to 10. This matches with that. These two add up to 10, and these two add up to 10. So we have that and that adding up to 10. So this cannot be a 5. This could be 5 if that's 5. So where's the 5 in row 5? It has to be one of these. Cannot be any of these. Cannot be here. It could be any of those. Okay. This will do here. They're light. Maybe we should letter these. That might make things easier. So we're gonna go A and Z, B, Y, C, X, D, W, E, is it V? Yeah. V, W, X, Y, Z. This will make F, U, G, T, H, H, S, and I with J? No, R. There we go. So we're going backwards on alphabet here. Okay. What does that mean? Maybe we should color a set. Let's color, Let's do the middle box. So light, medium. Is that going to be good? I don't know. Green, pink, orange, red, yellow, blue. So pink has to add up to 10 with one of the corner digits. So remaining digits, okay, let's just do this. Remaining digits in row 6 are the grays, green, pink, and orange, right? Green cannot be here because these two add up to 10. And there cannot be a 10 that are adjacent. Obviously, this can't be blue. Cannot match with orange. What else do we have? Okay. Is this helpful? I don't really know. Remaining digits in column 5 are light green, red, dark orange, blue. Light green, red, dark orange, blue. This matches with this, and it can't be adjacent to either of these, so it cannot be light or dark. This cannot be green or orange. Okay. Remaining digits in row 5 are light, medium, dark, red, yellow, blue. Light, medium, dark, red, yellow, blue. Okay. These two cannot be the same as these two. So blue matches with this cell to add up to 10. If this were blue, that would also be the same cell as this, so that's just not allowed. So this cannot be blue. Green matches with this cell to add up to 10. And it cannot be either of these. So it cannot be red or light. If this could be blue here. If this were blue, though, that means the matching cell here and the matching cell here would have to be the same, which is not allowed. So this cannot be blue. So blue has to be this cell, which would mean it's with green, or it's one of these 3 cells, which means the matching cell is one of those. This is possible. Okay. these add up to 10, and these add up to 10, and these add up to 10. Hmm. So red can be with one of these 5. Okay, these digits have to be green, pink, orange, red, yellow, or blue. Okay. These cannot be blue. If either of these are blue, that means this corresponding 10 that is here must be in this row, which is not allowed. So blue in this box has to be one of these two. Okay. um, do we have anything else? Green can't be either of these because that would force one of these two, which it matches with here, to be in the same row. So none of these can be green. What else do we have? So we have red, yellow. Okay, so red in row 5 cannot be either of these, any of these 3 actually. If red is any of these 3, the problem is the matching cell has to be one of these 3. And red already matches with this cell here to add up to 10. So if there's red here, that means one of these would have to match too. So none of these can be red. Therefore, red has to be in row 5, one of these 2 cells. So this can never be red. Okay. So red is here. Okay, if this is red, that means the matching 10 would have to be here, which is impossible because red and the matching 10 are already in its row. So this cannot be red, which forces this to be a red. So this is red, and this is the this is red, which means this is the matching color, adding up to 10. Well, it can't be blue or yellow, so it's one of the light, mediums, or dark. So this is light, medium, or dark also. So this is the same cell. This is the same digit, and it matches. Okay. We have A, and that's Z. So this is Z. And obviously this is A. A cannot be here, so A has to be one of those 2. Okay. Hmm. So blue's one of these 2. If it's blue here, that means blue and green are a pair. which means neither of these could be blue or green. That's interesting. Does that tell us anything? Not particularly. If this were... Yellow matches that cell. Okay. Does that tell us anything? I don't really know. These two cells add up to 10. Okay, let's do this cell. So it's medium, dark, pink, orange, yellow, blue. These add up to 10. So this cannot be blue. If this were blue, then these would add up to 10. And that's not allowed. So this is non-green. Wait. No, okay. Oh, this could be green. I don't know why I messed that up. Yeah, red matches with that cell, not with this one. I think I was taking that wrong. Yeah, this can't be blue. Could be any of these technically. This can't be light because these two add up to 10. And if this were light, obviously that wouldn't work. Huh. Uh, So 5 again. Where could 5 be? 5 cannot be either of these two. 5 could be here. And 5 could not be here because that matches with that cell. 5 could be either of these. So 5 is here. That would mean 5 has to be one of those two. So if 5 is here, that means this is 5. And then 5 would have to be one of these, and it would have to be the yellow. If this is 5, obviously the 5 is an orange. If this is 5, that must mean it must match with this cell. And then the 5 would have to be one of these. So it could be light, medium, or dark. So 5 in this middle box must be one of these cells. Right? Green cannot be 5. It's matched with another digit here in the same row. A cannot be 5. It's matched with another digit here in the same row. Pink can't be 5. It's matched with this cell. Blue cannot be 5 because it's matched with that cell. The interesting thing is, I think this has to be, not necessarily. If the 5 is here, this is 5, then this must be the 5 and it's yellow. This could be 5 here. Which would mean that's 5. So either one of these two is 5. Or this is 5 and that's 5, which means none of these could be 5. This couldn't be 5 because these two must add up to... So 5 could be any of these technically. But if this is 5, it would not be here. But any of these could be 5. These can't be 5. This can't be 5. This can't be 5. These two could be 5. This can't be 5 because it adds up with another digit to add up to 5, or to add up to 10. Digits next to a black crop key dot are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. Okay. So if yellow is 5, if this is a 5, that means it matches here. So these are light, dark, and medium. And it has to be light or dark, specifically. And this would not be yellow. But if this is yellow... that would be fine. So again, these add up to 10, these add up to 10, these add up to 10, and these add up to 10. One's interesting here. If blue is here, that means we have yellow, medium, and dark here. Or, yes, yellow, medium, and dark. So if blue's here, that forces this to be yellow, medium, and dark. To add up with the green, to add up to 10. If it's medium, that would be green. That's possible. Hmm. Let me see. Uh. Okay. Oh, interesting. One thing is about this cell, can it ever be 4? If this is 4, this can't be 4, 8, or 2, 4. It has to be either 1, 2, or 3, 6. 6 adds up with 4 to add up to 10, so this could not be 6. 3 and 4 are consecutive, so that means that can't work. So this would have to be a 1, 2 pair, which would force this not to be 1, 2, because that would eliminate all possibilities for this cell. So this would be 3, 6 as a pair. I mean, it seems like it's fine. Um, hmm. These two add up to 10. These two add up to 10. These two add up to 10. B and what? Y? C and X add up to 10. Obviously, C can't be here. Well, C and X cannot be here. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, we have where in column 5 then are C, X, and Y. X cannot be any of these. Because if X is any of these, B would also have to be one of these. So X specifically has to be one of those two. If this were X, then this could be B. That seems possible. C and Y, though, if C and Y were not on this line, then the problem is they would be next to each other here. So C and Y have to be somewhere along this line. So one of these is pink, one of these is pink, one of these is, oh wait, no, it's the other way around, sorry. Y is with B, so this has to be Y. This then must be C or X. Right, because B and Y add up to 10, but these add up to 10 as separate sets. And C and X then, one of them must be medium gray, the other has to be pink. Or sorry, one of them could be medium gray or pink. The other one has to match these cells. So this cannot be B. It could technically be X, though. Can't be any of these cells. Can't be B, because then these two would add up to 10. Could be X. And it could be X with this being C twice. That's possible. Hmm. Gray in box 8 has to be, cannot be here. Because it sees these, it can't be any of these cells. Can't be either of these because those match that. And it has to be one of these 4. Pink cannot match these, so it has to be one of these 4. 5 in column 5 has to be one of these 2 or one of these 2. Okay. So yellow could still be 5. I'm gonna be right back. I need to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna pause this. And I'm back. Let's continue. I don't know if separating out these colors makes sense. I think maybe pairing these colors makes sense and then setting them as letters. Let's reset this. Let's just do letters. A, Z, B, Y, C, X, D, W, E, V, F, U, G, T, H, S, and I, R. Okay. Again, we know... So this will mark as red. We know this is red. Obviously, this can't be red. So this cell here, A, cannot be any of these cells. If it were here, that means Z would have to be here, and we'd have 2 Z's in the row. If it's here, it has to be here, right? If it's any of these 3, if A is any of these 3, it matches, Z has to be here, and that would have duplicates here. So it cannot be any of these, cannot be any of these, can't be T, can't be Y, because if it's Y, they're next to each other. So this has to be an A. So this is A. That matches with the Z here. So this is red and red. Those are the reds together. And we know red has to be one of these 3. We're not sure which. A hat cannot be here, so A has to be one of those 2. So the matching reds have to be there. Z has to be one of these 3. U and F match. Where is U? in row 5. U cannot be here. And we're going to make these blue. So U and F are blue. If U's here, U cannot be here because of the U in the box. If U cannot be any of these, obviously. It cannot be here because then that would force F to be there, and therefore you'd have a duplicate. If U is, well, this is A, so it can't be there. If X and V are U, these two cells are F, so that's not possible. So U has to be either here or here. If U is here, that means B is the same as F. Okay, yeah, what does that mean then? Say this is U. That means F is B. U would have to be one of these three. U could not be here, because if U were here, B would have to be here, and they would add up to 10. So U would have to be a pair with one of these two. B could not be here or here. It could not be here. If B is here, that forces this to be U, which would mean it's a contradiction. So this has to be B. It has to be B or it has to be U. Right? So we're saying if this is U, B would be here because these match, and therefore this could not be B because that forces to be U. We'd have two U's in the same row. If this is B, they're consecutive. They are adjacent to each other, which is not possible. So this would have to be B. So this is guaranteed to be B or U because we're using this assumption that U is here. If U is not here, U has to be here. So this is guaranteed to be B or U, but we don't know if B is blue. So this is F again. So B obviously cannot be any of these. B could be here. If this is B, I think B could be any of these. If it's here, no, it cannot be here. B could be either of these. Can B be here? Possibly. Okay. Where can B be in? C is one of those three. We have J with Q. Maybe make this J, Q, K, P, L, and O. Okay. Hmm. Uh. Okay. So these four cells match with these four cells to add up to 10. Obviously, these are two pairs of 10. Where is this cell? This cell cannot add up to 10 with either of these. This could be a 5, though. So this adds up to 10 with this. So that's a set. This adds up to 10. Okay, so this, we're gonna mark this as green. So this could be blue, or both green. This is definitely both red. This cell cannot match with A, so it's one of these three corners. U could be any of these. Yeah. In this box, U is one of these two. It could still be one of those three cells there. Pink matches with another set to add up to 10. So, or this cell, we're going to mark it a pink. So it must be matching with one of those two. It cannot match with that. It could match with this one. Oh, that's interesting. So say this was a U. So let's say this was blue. That means these greens would match. Where would the blues be? Well, where is the pink matching? Again, pink cannot match with this. Pink could match here, which would mean this cell here has to be one of those two. Okay, we have U here, U here. That would mean you can't be here, you can't be here. U would have to be one of these two, which means the opposite would have to be, huh. Okay, so let's figure that out then. So this is not U. So U is here. U cannot be Z. It's not because that's the same cell. So U would have to be one of these two. U could not be this one because then the opposite one, F, would have to be here and this would be forming a pair. So this would have to be F then, which would force this to be U. So that's possible. So then this would be blue and blue. Which one would F be? F would be here, here, cannot be green. It cannot be this cell, so it would have to be pink. Interesting. So this would be F then, if that were the case. Which means that would be U. Okay, that seems feasible. Where could U be here, then, in columns 4? Cannot be here because B would be here. They would add up to 10. Could this be U and that be F? Possibly, yeah. U and F could work. This cell could be U also. That works also. Okay. Uh, hmm. So that's possible. So if this is U, that means pink has to be F, and that matches. So the other blue is matching one of those two. We know that for certain. Okay. What if it's not matching? So say it's green. So this is okay. So say this was U. Um, that means this would not be U. So this is blue either way, I think, right? I think that has to be blue. It's either B or U. Oh, that's interesting. So again, if this were U here, that means this would not be U, and it would not be blue. This is green and green. This would be a Y, essentially. U would be here, U would be here. This would be F, right? Because um, U could not be here, so this would be U, and this would be F. So that's possible. Or if this is not U, this is B, this would be U, which would mean B's here. B cannot be here, obviously. And if B were here, this would force that to be U, and then U would already be here, which is not possible. So then F would know we know is here. If U is here, B is here, so B can't be here. B would be the same as F. Therefore, these would be the same. Therefore, this would be B, because neither of these could be B, because that would force us to be U, and U would be the same here. That would force us to be a U pair there. So U can only be in one of those three spaces. If this is U, this has to be F. So this is either F or U here, guaranteed. So F has to be one of these two cells. F has to be one of those two cells then. Okay. U again is one of these two cells. Mm -hmm. Where is U in column F? Or column 5. I don't know why I said column F. U is either here matching the F here, or if this is F, cannot be any of these. U could be here. Hmm. 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 We know this can't be red. It could match with one of these cells here, which is fine. If it does do that, so let's make that assumption. Say this, that means these would be blue. So this would be blue, this would be blue. And this would be F, F, F. You'd have U here. Pink would obviously be with pink and not you. At least one of the blues would have to be here. That means it could not be K and P. They could both be here. Oh, okay. Then say both of the blues were here. One of them would have to be here, the other one would have to be here. So say this was not blue. If this was not blue, then two of the blues have to be here because they can't match these. Therefore, they would have to both be here because they can't be adjacent to each other. But then these add up a 10 also, which is a contradiction. So this would then have to be blue. We don't know which. And then the other one could not. I guess it could still be here. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, so O in column 5 cannot be any of these. So O, again, has to be one of these two. If this is O, that forces L to be there. Which means, obviously, L would have to be one of those two, then. That seems reasonable. Where is L then in... If O is here, L cannot be any of these cells. L could be here. L cannot be here because that would force us to be O, and we'd have two O's in the same row. Okay, so I'm trying to force this to match one of the corners. So this is F, this is U. Mm-hmm. We'll make this M and N too. So M. So N has to be one of these two. We're not sure which then, if that's the case. So N cannot be here, N cannot be here. N can't be here, can't be Z or A. N could be here, that would force M to be there. N would have to be either one of these two or this cell. That's interesting. Okay. So this would be an AU pair here. Where is M then? M could not be here because that would force N to be here. Ah, okay. Right. So M in this scenario, M could not in row 4 cannot be here because of the M in the box. Cannot be part of the AU pair. Because U, again, if U is matching here, this has to be F. U can't be anywhere here, cannot be here, cannot be here. Because if it were here, that would force F to be here, and they would add up to 10. And it'd be adjacent. So U has to be one of those two. So M cannot be part of this pair, cannot be here, cannot be here, can't be here because that's, again, U. So M would have to be one of these two, which means N would have to be one of those two. That means M would have to be one of these two here. But, okay, so then N would be one of these two because M would be here. So M would be here. That would force N to match here. And M would have to be one of these two. And it cannot be here because if it were here, that would force this to be N. And we already have an N in the row. So this has to be M. This would be M. That would be M. One of these two is M. Therefore, N has to be here. N cannot be this one. Can't be here. Can't be here. Can't be here. So N would have to be here, right? So that would make M here also. So that seems okay for now. Um, okay, so then, So this pink then can never match with that cell. It has to be one of these two. Huh. Interesting. Um, Okay, so again, wait, does that work? Oh yeah. So it does match with one of these two. So this never matches with this one. Interesting. Hmm. So either these two are the same, or this matches with one of those. Hmm. This is pretty complex. Hmm. Okay, where can J be? J cannot be here. J could be here, but cannot be here because then that would add up to 10 here. J cannot be here because if J's here, then Q would have to be here, and there. So these can't be J. J has to be one of these four. Where's Q? Q cannot be here. If this were Q, this would be J, which is possible. If this were Q, this would be J, but that wouldn't be possible, so it cannot be any of these. Q cannot be here because that's adjacent to J. Oh, that's interesting. So these two add up to 10. Q can't be here. It can't be next to J, so Q has to be one of these three in row 3. Does that tell us very much? I'm not really sure. Hmm. 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 Uh, this is a lot of thought. Uh, so unfortunately, it works. Seems to work okay in both of these scenarios. So I'm not getting anything here. Hmm. I think I'm gonna take a little break for now. I need to clear my mind. I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm back. Let's continue with the solve. Okay, one thing I was thinking of is where can the 5 be in column 5? We know it can't be either of these two. It can't obviously be the L or the O, so O cannot be here. But say 5 was here. If 5 is here, O is guaranteed to be here too. But if O is here and 5 is here, there must be two other digits in the column which must add up to 10. And they would both have to be here if that's the case. Because 5 would be here, O would be here, so there's no place there. L is adding up to 10 with O, so it cannot be one of those. Therefore, these two cells would have to be the cells adding up to 10, because these add up to 10, these add up to 10, L and O add up to 10, and we have 5 here. So, we know neither of these can be 5. Because then that would force both the extra digits in column 5, which add up to 10, to both be here, and that's not allowed. So 5 is guaranteed to be one of these two. Neither of these can be 5. One of them's O, the other one is matching whatever cell is here. So because of that, I think we had it earlier that we had 5 here and 5 here, right? That would force the 5 to be here, but that's not possible anymore. This is not never 5. So that means this can't be 5. So if this is 5 and this is 5, that doesn't work. So 5 in row 5 has to be one of these two. So if this is 5, that would mean that's a 5, and then this would have to be 5. If this is a 5, that would mean 5 would have to be here, and then 5 would have to match one of these two corners, right? So, what we know is F can be either here or here. U is either one of those two. U can be one of those three. 5 has to be one of these two cells. And it matches with the other cell, the other digit in this column, must match with one of these two. We're not sure which. Again, this is M or N. F could be either of these. So 5 has to match one of these two. So 5 is either here or it's here. So that means 5 can, obviously 5 can't be here, 5 can't be here. 5 can no longer be here. This can't be 5 either. So the 5, if the 5 is here, that's orange. So 5 would have to be here. So 5 could not be either of these, could not be here. It cannot be F. Oh, interesting. So 5 would have to be here if it's matching here. Right, because 5 couldn't be here. 5 can't be here because it has to be that cell there. And it cannot be here because it doesn't match one of those. 5 can no longer, if 5's here, then 5 can't be here anymore, so this is not 5. So 5 can't be here, 5 can't be here. So this is A, U, or it's 5, interestingly enough. If this were 5, I remember this was the one of the grays, right? So it had to be one of these 3. So if this is 5, it could be 5 here. So 5 in box 4 has to be one of these 3 cells. If it's here, it has to match one of those 2. So if 5 is here, it must be here. Which means this can never be 5 either. So, if this is 5, that means this is guaranteed to be 5 here. Oh, this can never be 5. This can never be 5. Interesting. So 5. Where is 5 in box 6? This can never be 5 because it's some sort of blue. These can't be 5 anymore because that would force this to be 5. And then you would have to have this be the 5, but that's not allowed because then that would be O, and then these two would add up to 10 and be adjacent to each other. This can't be 5 because if that were 5, one of these, this would have to be 5, but we already have a guaranteed 5 in one of these 2 cells. And this can't be 5, obviously. So 5 has to be one of these 2, which means 5 also has to be one of these 2. And both of these 5s sees that cell, so this can never be 5. So 5 has to be one of these 2 cells here. Interesting. 5 can never be here. 5 can never be here. 5 can never be here. 5 has to be one of these 4 cells. Okay. I mean, it could be J also. Right? If it's 5, that could be 5. Oh, no. That's not possible. So, no, that cannot be 5. Because if this is 5, that's 5, which eliminates all 5s in box 2. So that's not allowed. So what we're missing C and X. So we can have a C and X here. C and X. X, obviously. Okay, so... X... We actually don't know if that's blue. That's pink. That matches pink there. This will be medium and medium. O is going to be one of these, so we'll make this orange. Which means the other orange has to be there. And then we have the final one. We'll make it yellow. So yellow's one of those 2, and yellow's one of those 2. Oh. This could be O. If this was the yellow, that would mean this would have to be the other yellow matching it. So this would have to be the yellow matching. That would be 5. If this is not yellow, say it's O in the orange. So one of these is O, guaranteed. Hmm. Where is 5 in box 8? It must be one of these two cells or one of these two cells. Because it cannot be next to a black Kropke dot, and this can't add up with 5 to add up to there. Hmm. Hmm. Whichever one matches this, there's one extra here, right? One can match with pink here. These are green. This is red. So one of these matches with pink. Right, either these are the same set, which means it has to be over here, or these are different sets. If these are, that's interesting. If these are different sets, ooh, huh. Say pink and blue are different sets. Well, we know, okay, so never mind. We know it's green. It matches green then, so that's fine. So blue is either, the matching F is here. You can be either one here or here. Obviously, if U's here, F has to be here. So F, 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 if that's the case. If U is here, it matches B. So you'd have an AU pair there. So let's go through the scenarios then. um, right, so B and U. That would force this to be B to be the same as F. F would be here. Where would U be? U could not be here or here, and it could not be here because that would force F to be there, which would add up to 10. This would be an AU pair. That would force this to be 5. So that would force this to be 5. So again, F is here. U is here. This is U. This would be F. we'd have this be F. So U would be one of these two. The pink would have to add with one of these. So M would be one of these two. So since M would be one of these two, this would have to be M here. So this would be M. The one matching it would be N here. So M is here, then this would be N. We have M, N. So far that's okay. This one matches with what that is. We have A and Z here. So this would be again, this is V as the other option. This would be E, so this would be AU pair. This would be E, V. E matches, one of them matches, then we have D. D or E matches with M, so we don't know which. Hold up. So we have these two match. This would be the other color, right? So we make a dark, and we have a pink dark pair. This would be pink and dark. So we have AZ, FU. This would have to be a pink dark pair also. Ah, and that's the contradiction. So if we made this a U, that would force us to be AU. So 5 could no longer be here. So 5 would have to be here. And if 5 is here, these can't obviously be the same set, adding up to 10. So pink must add up here with 10. This would have to be 5, which matches with a 5 there. And dark would have to match with here. So we'd have these two be the same set, these two be the same set. Therefore, this would have to be pink or dark. I guess that could be the case. Never mind, it's not a contradiction. So this could be pink or dark. Obviously these two would match these two. Oh, well that's the problem. Yeah. These two obviously could not be the same digit as this. These two would have to basically add up to 10 with these two cells. So they would add up to 10 with these two cells, but then we have only space for an M here. We don't have space for the other dark here, which would have to be one of these three. So that's a contradiction. So therefore, you couldn't reach there. So you cannot be here. So this cannot be U, which means this has to be a U. It's not F, so that's U. Where's the blue then? It cannot be here because then that would match that cell, and these two would add up to 10 and be consecutive. So U has to be here. This cannot be U then. So we know this is U. F cannot be here. Where can F be in? This matches here. So this is U and F. Where can U be then? Sorry, what can F be in row 5? Can't be any of these, can't be any of these, can't be here, can't be the B, so it has to be here. So this is blue, and this is blue. So this is F, and this is U. Okay, so we have D and W matching. So that must match one of these two to add up to 10. We have B and Y still. Okay, so we have U's. U has to be one of these three. If U were here, F would be here, so U cannot be here. U has to be one of these two. If it matches here, then F would be here, which seems fine. Okay. Where is B then matching with Y in box 6? Cannot be here. It's one of these three. It could be here if then the Y would be there. That's fine. If B is here, B can't be here. So B can't be here. If B is here, that would force this to be Y. Okay, so B cannot be any of these. Therefore, B has to be one of these two. So B is either here, which means Y would be there, or B's here, which means Y would be here. We already knew Y couldn't be here because B and Y add up to 10. So we have another set. It's this cell and one of those two. So this cell matches that. So one of these is a 5. We have both reds here, both blues here. So this must be either green or pink. So this is green or pink. Okay. So green has to be either one of those. Pink, okay, so if this were pink, the other pink would be here. So that seems fine. If this is pink, that's pink. Where is green? So B is here. B could be one of these. So you could have one of those be B. Y is here. Y cannot be any of those. Cannot be blue. Y has to be one of these three. Okay. So Y could be one of these two. Pink, the other pink cannot be here, so the pink would have to be one of these 4. This has to be green or red then. Okay. Oh, so this is essentially green or pink. Well, this one we don't know. It could technically be red here, so this could be green, but this is definitely green or pink. Red is one of these three. This is green or pink. So this can't be medium. That means this is green, pink, or red. This is obviously green, pink, or red. Green cannot be here. So, because that would be adjacent to it. So this is green or pink also. This is pink or 5. It cannot be green. Hmm. Yeah, let's mark this with dark so that's easier to signal that those are different. One of these is pink. We don't know which. This cannot be green, so this is also pink or 5. We don't know which. Huh. Okay, where can you be? You cannot be here. Cannot be here because that... Oh, it could be. F could be here. That's possible. You cannot be here because that would force this to be F. Oh, this is green or pink. This is green or pink also. This matches W. Um, ah, right. These two add up to 10. Where is the W in row 5 then? Can't be any of these because this adds up to 10 with that. It has to match that one then. So this, because this can't be W. So this must be W here. So this is W matches with D. This has to be a 5 and is not pink. So that means this is a 5. So 5 cannot be here. This cannot... Why can't that be pink? That should be able to be pink. This can't be 5 though. Okay. So this is 5, this is 5. One of these two is 5. Bread is one of those with that. So this is W, which means this has to be W here. There's no other place for it. So this is pink also. And is W. That means this must match D. So this is pink and D. Which means this cannot be pink. Because it sees both pinks. So this is... Neither of these could be pink. Both of them are green. So these are both green. This is Y. This is green, so this cannot be green here. Therefore, it's red. This has to be green here. We don't know which one's which. So A is not here. A is definitely here. We have green, green. We don't know which one this is. Okay, so then we have this cannot be green. This has to be pink, which forces this to be pink. So this would be then W, which forces this to be D. So we have B here, therefore that forces this to be non-pink, it's green. And this is specifically Y. We can't have any more greens in the box. So one of these three is red. This is pink, so this cannot be pink here. This is 5 or red. We're not sure which. Pink is one of these two. So this can no longer be green either to match. So green has to be one of these three. So this is green, therefore this cannot be green here. Since this is green and that's green, you can't have two pairs adding up to green. So this can't be green. This is green, it cannot match with green here, so that forces this to be green here. So this cannot be 5. That forces this to be a 5 here, which is no color. This matches this, so this is an O. This is not O here. So this is Y. We have 2 pinks in row 7, so this can no longer be pink. It's red. Red then has to be here. So this has to be red. So these are red, both red. This is O. This is O. That means these cannot be red. These have to be a pink pair. So this must be not W. It must be D. So C matches D here then. So this is D and this is W now. W must be one of these two along with K, or sorry, U. So there's no K here. This is U and W. That means this has to be F and D. D or F to match. These are both green, so this is B. We have L and O, so this must be the D and F also to match. Okay. That means we have to have 3 greens in column 6, and if this were green, that would be problematic because they would be consecutive with each other. So this must be green here, which means this cannot be 5. Where is the 5 in column? Well, it could be here. So this is 5 or red, and this is 5 or red. We're not sure which one. We have both greens here. We don't know which one is which. This can't be pink. This is not pink. So one of these is 5, the other one is red. We have green, green, green. I need to get, so this must be B. So this is B. This cannot be 5. Can't be green or pink or red, so this has to be blue. Right, because they're adjacent to pink, green, and red. So this has to be blue, which makes this blue. So this is the blue F, and this is the blue U. Okay. That doesn't help much. U cannot be here, whereas U in column 2 can't be here because of the U in the box. This is pink, can't be U here. So this must be U and the blue. Blue U is one of those two. U has to be one of these three. Cannot be here next to the F. Okay. We have U and W here. So that means we have D5 and what's the last letter? D5Z is possible, I think. And blue. So F. So F has to be one of these. So this is D, W, F. And D cannot, not W. What do I have W? D5, Z, and F. Z cannot be next to this cell. So this can't be Z. F cannot be next to the U. And D cannot be next to the W. Oh, this can't be D because we have a DW pair here. So this must be D here. So that's D. We have 5F and FZ here. So this is 5 or blue. And this is blue or red. So D is here. D cannot be here, or here, or here. So D has to be here in that cell. Green. We have potential red. Okay, so pink, we're going to recolor that. We're going to get pink as orange. And then 5s we're going to set as pink, essentially. Okay, so pink can be here, pink can be here. Pink is here. Pink can be one of these three. Oh, D is here, so this cannot be W. So this is U and blue. This is not U and F are together to add up to 10. This is not D. This has to be D. This has to be W. So this is orange, orange. Okay. W cannot be here, so W is one of these cells. W is one of these two. Cannot be here because it's next to a D, so W has to be here. W cannot be here or here, so this is W here. Okay. So this is F. This is F, F. We have U here, U, 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 F, F. This is U. So we don't know. Okay, so this is W, which means this can't be W. So all of these are W and have to be orange. These are all here. We have 8 Ds. We know the last D has to be, it has to be here. We know these are Bs. We know these are Y. Okay. This is definitely an A. Z is definitely here. So this is 5 or Z. We don't know which. 5Z, 5Z. Delete the corner stuff. This is definitely O, but we don't know which one it is. This is B or Y. B or Y, B or Y, B or Y. This is specifically 5 or F. This is specifically F or Z. This is A or Z. We're not sure which. This is A or Z. A or Z. This is 5A or Z here. We're not sure which. Okay, so we've got all the W's. We've got all the D's. Don't have all the U's. U can be either one of these. Okay, F. F cannot be here. F is one of these two. So one of these is a 5. Oops. Okay, so we have F, one of those two. This is U. This is U. F has to be, okay, U cannot be here or here. So U has to be one of these two also. If F has to be one of these three, but if F were here, that would force U to be here, and they would be adjacent to each other. So F has to be one of those two. F cannot be next to the U. So F has to be one of these four. So we've done W and D. We've done U and F. Now we need to look at B and Y. So B has to be one of these two cells here too. So this becomes a BU pair. B and Y are here. B and Y are here. B can't be here. B and Y are both here and here. Remaining digits in box 3. We have A, Z, 5. I think that's it. Okay, so this can't be 5. Therefore, this is A or Z. It's red. No, we have another one. What are we missing? Y. Why can't... No. Y. So this is guaranteed to be A and Z because you can't have both reds here. If you had both reds here, obviously that's a problem. That would force us to be Y here. So we have an AZ pair now in row 1. B and U are green and blue. So we have to have a 5. Okay, this can't be 5 because of 5 in the row. This is A, Y, or Z, cannot be Y. So this is A or Z, and this is A or Z, which means this has to be Z as a red. So this is Z. That forces this to be A. That forces this to be A, which makes this Z. So this is A. That makes this A. We still don't know which one of these is 5 and which one is Z. So this can't be A or Z. It becomes a 5Y pair. So this cannot be 5 or Y. It has to be the Z. So these are red. We know one of these two is 5. We have F, and what's the last one? Y, right? Yeah. So 5F and Y. So any of these could be green. These two could be blue. Okay. Use one of those two. Remaining digits in column, or letters in column 7. We have, so we have AF, we have Z. And what's else? We're missing Y. Y and Z here. Why do V and Y? B and Y. If this were Y, that would force this to be B. So this cannot be green. It's red, which forces this to be green. So this is Y and this is Z. That means this cannot be Z. This is F. So this is F, which eliminates F here. So this is 5, which is not blue. Therefore, this must be the red and is Z. Okay. F is here. That's in a 1 to 2 ratio with... Let's clear this out first. What letters can be here? 5 and Y. And Y can't be here, so this must be 5. And is the pink. That means this can't be pink. This is Y as the green. This can't be green then. This has to be pink in the 5. So this is Y. This is F. Okay. This Y eliminates Y here, so this is 5 in pink, which makes this green as Y. So this cannot be green here. This must be blue and is U, not Y, is U. That eliminates blue here, so this is B and green. Remaining digits in column. This can't be U, so this must be U here, not Y. And that leaves this digit as A in red. Okay. F cannot be here because of the F in the row, so this must be F here and is blue. We're missing 5 and D. No, not D. 5 and B. Okay, so we have 5 and B here. This can't be 5, so this must be B, which makes this Y, which makes this B. This is 5 then. So this is green, pink. That forces this to be Y and green. This Y eliminates Y here, so it's B and Y. This 5 eliminates 5 here, so it's Z and 5. This is not pink. This is red. We're missing D. No, we're missing F here, and F has to be here specifically. And Z. So this is Z. We're missing in row 8 A, which cannot be next to the Z, so it has to be here. And we're missing B. Okay, so we have all the relationships now. We just have to figure out which one's which. Okay. F and Y are in a 1 to 2 ratio. So B and Y are both in 1 to 2 ratios. 1-9 does not fit that. 2-8 does. 3-7 does not. 4-6 does. So B and Y is either 2-8 or 4-6. Huh. If Y were 6, that would force... Okay, so... Right. B and Y have to be either 2-8 or 4-6, because those are the only scenarios that work. If this were 6, F would be 3, so U would have to be 7, but then these would be consecutive. So this cannot be 6 here. Therefore, F has to be 1, 2, 4, or 8 also. If F is 1, that would mean U would be 9. If F was 2, that means U would be 8. If F was 4, U would have to be 6. 6 cannot be here, so this can't be 4. If F was 8, this would have to be 2. Okay. Okay, so now we need to also see which cells touch both cells of the other sets. A touches both B and Y. So Z touches B and Y. So red and green cannot be the same set. Cannot be the set adding up to 10. Or sorry, cannot be the set that adds up to 5. A also touches D and W. Does Z also touches D and W? So A and red and blue have to be the set that adds up to 5. A touches both F and U. So A has to be the high digit. Z touches U. So Z is the low, and F is the low, I believe. So Z has to be low. So again, A and Z, they both touch D and W. D here, W here for A, D and W for Z. They both touch B and Y, here and here. They both touch... Oh, they both touch D and W and B and Y, so they have to be with F and U. A touches both F and U, and Z only touches U, I believe. Z is not next to an F. Z is not next to an F. 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 So Z is the low digit. So Z has to be 1 through 4. And F has to be 1 through 4. So this has to be 1 or 2 here, which makes this 8 or 9 here. This is 1 or 2, so this must be 2 or 4 here. So this has to be a 6, 8 here to add up to 10 with the Y. Y, what does it touch? It touches D. So W has to be the low digit in the orange set. So W is low. And cannot match has to add up to 5 with 2 or 4. So this is 1 or 3. A has to be 3 or 4 to be in a 1 to 2 ratio with 6 or 8. So again, A and Z are with F and U. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So A and Z add up with F and U, or specifically Z and F add up to 5. Because they're not adjacent to each other. So if F is 1, this is 9, this must be 2, so this must be 8. 1 and 4 add up to 10, and that works. If F is 2, that means this is 8. What is D? D is 7 or 9. Okay. Um, Again, if f is 1, that makes this 9. 7. That seems okay. So 1 and 2, 9. This is then 4 and 8. Those two add up to 10. This must be 3 and 7. That seems fine. Because 9 is not consecutive with 2, 5, or 7. What happens if this is 2? If this is 2, this is 4, this is 6, this is 3. This becomes 1. 1 and 9, which makes that 8, and these would be consecutive. So that does not work there. Therefore, F is the 1s. F's are the 1. U's have to be 9. That means greens, or specifically Y's, have to be 2. Which means all the B's have to be 8. The red Z's have to be 4. Which makes the A's 6. That means D's have to be 7. And the last ones are 3s. And that's a solution. Oh, that was hairy. That was very hairy. The logic behind this was very cool, but also very hard to spot. Yeah, particularly this part, right? You had to see that these were paired together. This O had to be one of these two cells. And if we had a 5 here, that would not work. And then you had to go through this rigmarole to make sure that this couldn't be 5 and that couldn't be 5 because this specifically couldn't be 5. So that was interesting. And then you had this part. Why couldn't that be? Oh, because I think this was only possible. Yeah, this one had to match here. And the thing is, where could it be then in row 5, right? It had to be here, which forced that to be 5. And then everything from there cleared out very well. These are tough. These are definitely very tough. Would I consider this very hard or hard? I don't know. I think I would consider this very hard, but maybe that's just me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.